Hello Internet. Today I wanted to make a little short video where we're gonna watch a clip where Alex Jones makes an announcement and then I'm gonna put my thoughts and comments on it. So here we go.
This message is not just addressed to my fellow Americans, but addressed to people across the world of every race, color, and creed who believe in free speech, enshrined here in our republic as the First Amendment. It's the First Amendment, it's a Bill of Rights, because it is the most important. The right to speak, the right to publish, the right to assemble, the right to petition, the right to practice your own religion and not having a state-run or authorized system. We have seen Facebook, Google, Twitter, and other media platforms increasingly censor even mainline libertarian and conservative ideas. Ladies and gentlemen, Facebook, if it's able to successfully get away with censoring a wide spectrum of ideas that the establishment doesn't agree with, not just conservatives, will set a mega massive precedent. Facebook's over a third of the internet. Did you think about that? Of the traffic and people visiting things. And then it's over. You think it's bad that communist China, with 1.3 billion people, is censoring? Zuckerberg, who calls his users dumb effers, has been meeting with the Chinese censorship leadership, openly trying to tweak it. He met with Merkel and openly in a hot mic said, don't worry, I'm going to start suppressing and censoring people. They report when someone criticizes open borders to the German government and they come and arrest you. This is a global phenomenon that's taking place right now. They're passing laws in Canada to arrest people that criticize transgender. Well, that's your free speech. It's not hate propaganda, as they call it. If they set the precedent on these issues, they will basically ban any other type of speech that the globalists don't want. This is the ultimate threat to humanity. This is worse than what we saw in the Soviet Union. This is right out of Nazi Germany or right out of Maoist China. So we're fighting for free speech. When you spread the word about InfoWars.com, our videos, our stories, our reports, and when you post it on different platforms, that circumvents their AI systems that are trying to restrict the flow of information. We stand together or we hang separate. Another thing we're doing is not just battling to stop the censorship, we're also building other platforms, getting on as many third-party systems as there are out there and spreading the word of basic free market liberty and human empowerment and the new renaissance. But also, the experts I've talked to said, Alex, you missed the boat. You've been a pioneer in many ways, but you haven't promoted email. And I said, yeah, I don't ever really market on email. I just, it's low tech. And they're like, no. That's what's going to be hard to censor. Even if the internet kill switch comes into place, there are systems and there are developments that make it very hard still to stop email and to stop that information being sent over networks, you name it. So it's essential that everybody go to InfoWars.com/newsletter to get exclusive articles, videos, promo codes sometimes, the shopping cart like we had a few weeks ago with Hillary for Prison, 50% off. I mean, there are some big discounts we send to incentivize people, and plus you're some of the most hardcore patriots. You can send the email and the newsletter on with exclusive videos and articles many days. So that's another great reason. But overall, it's so that we have direct contact with fellow patriots out there around the world. And if they try to start shutting our websites down and other things, which they've tried to do, and kick us off Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, you name it, we will be able to send you direct videos that you can then send on to others. We've all got to start thinking about the censorship and actively fighting it, getting more active and not taking independent, liberty-based media for granted, which I know you don't do, but really having a sense of urgency and getting the info out more while building new avenues on cutting-edge tech and cutting-edge platforms, but also old tech like email. So please join hundreds of thousands of others that have been signing up every few months at InfoWars.com/newsletter. And you can also spread the word about our free feeds and more, podcasts, Droid apps, iPhone apps, it's all free at InfoWars.com/show.
So that was Alex Jones talking about the censorship and his plan to try to counter it. Well, a smart part of it. And my thoughts of this, yeah, this is very true, and I've noticed the effects, especially here in Sweden, because I'm Swedish, as you probably know if you've been following me. And the effects, you can notice here is like you have only a single file of opinion. So you can only think of one way on one thing, otherwise you're gonna get demonized, like you're an evil person. For example, abortion. You have to like abortion, because otherwise you're against women, you're a sexist, and you oppress women's rights. And if you are against homosexual marriage, you are a homophobe, and you are oppressing those people. And if you're against immigrants that comes in and kills people, don't like terrorism, don't want to see your country commit cultural suicide, which we are in Sweden. We are having town after town where they mass concentrate with immigrants. For example, this town's Syrian refugees, and this town you have Iranians, and this town you focus with mass Muslim immigrants. For example, Malmö is of 90% of the immigrants are Muslim, and it's very, very concentrated. And some other places have Somalia. You get the picture. It gets very concentrated of one type of people, and the people that gets there, they try to make the town into their own. They buy up places. They try to get into every different affiliation of politics, medicine, whatever, and rule the town basically. And some cases, even from my friend, he remember when this town was getting a lot of immigrants. They bought off the town center, and they owned a big place where lots of people lived, and they increased the rent for the Swedish people that lived in that house until they were forced to move, because obviously if you increase the tax with a few thousand crowns, then obviously the people don't want to live there, because they privatize it, they make the rules. And same thing if they're gonna own everything, like if they make the hospital here into a private one, which they had plans of, then it's gonna be like, you have to sit and wait longer because what you have is not that important, They're gonna neglect you as a citizen. And obviously, if you don't like these kind of stuff or point out the truths of things like this, you're going to be labeled as a racist, fascist, extremist. And obviously, all of these groups are being protected. Why? Because the globalists, like Alex Jones have been trying to expose, are trying to make all of these groups hate each other. They're trying to make a divide into the countries, the Western countries, because obviously we are the only one taking this kind of responsibility, as our prime minister are saying, and we're killing ourselves in this way very quickly, and we don't even realize it, because the media says whenever a person gets raped, it was a man that raped a woman, it was a man that raped a boy, it was a free man that raped a boy. It was a man that stabbed a mother and a son to death. And they never say the ethnic origin, which makes these liberals here in Sweden, they don't get the real picture. They can't see it. They only read headlines. They believe what's in the media. And the true picture are being suppressed, because people that does speak against this gets in trouble for it. They lose their job, they lose their career, and they need to support their families, while criminal organizations have the biggest courts costs, and they can cheat with taxes, and then big luxurious palaces all over the town's edges, and no one investigates that. No one. And whenever it gets attention, it quickly gets suppressed as well. Because obviously it's very hostile towards immigrants. And Sweden is this over-welcoming country. You get the picture. So it's hurting us. And it's building a false narrative and brainwashes the people. And believe me, there's a lot of people that probably would think, like me, to be open to this picture that is actually the true one. But you are being called a terrorist for spreading the truth. You're being attacked for being a constructive citizen. You're being attacked for being a democratic citizen. Because in a democracy, everyone has a responsibility to make a understanding of what's going on in the country to make their vote count. But these people are instead trying to paint this false narrative that people should not engage in politics in a different manner than what they want to picture it. Because they get votes this way. Other parties, political parties, are also being infected by this, not just the citizens. I mean, if you look at the parties' policies, they're relatively the same when it comes to homosexual marriage. Everyone wants that. And almost everyone, I have to make that note, not everyone, almost everyone. And almost everyone wants abortion, almost everyone wants immigrants, and almost everyone, you get the picture, everyone, almost everyone wants the same thing. So, with this false narrative, it's pretty easy for the globalists to control Sweden because we almost think the same thing, right? And the people that have the impact to change things, they are forced to think the same way because how we have been brainwashed and programmed to think. So yes, socialism is killing our country. It is suppressing our freedom of thought. Not just our freedom of speech, but freedom of thought. Our children in the schools are being also brainwashed. And people might laugh at this and be like, oh, how did Sweden get to this level? You know, laugh it up all you want, but this will get to every damn country in the future because the globalist doesn't settle for Europe or America. They want the world. Probably some things I have missed as usual, but to move on, they have some petition also to sign for Donald Trump. I don't know if you can sign it, whether you are American or not, but it is to send to Mr. Donald Trump a petition where they are gonna ask him to help stop the censorship that's going on to independent media, etc. Because what InfoWars has suffered from is that, for example, when they want to sell things or, make ads, they are refused from setting revenue out of these things because of policies that says, oh no, you have politics in your content and we don't like politics. And they are aiming especially towards conservative or, anti-globalist media, or, well, as they would call him, a crazy conspiracy theorist. But he's not crazy because most of the things he's saying is actually being proven and have been proven over the years. So let's read this. Petition defend independent media from fake news attacks. Ask President-elect Donald Trump to take a stand against the establishment's desperate move to label independent media as fake news. This is a red-level emergency. InfoWars, Breitbart, The Drudge Report, and other independent sources are destroying the mainstream media narrative like never before, and establishment is getting desperate. And also, make note of these titles here, or names, could be interesting other sources of reporting for you. In an effort to try and censor the liberty movement and free speech, the mainstream media is now attempting to label legitimate news sources like InfoWars as fake news, to push towards a government-led shutdown of InfoWars.com. Very true, like they said. And, the only so-called true media is the mainstream media. But as we know, who are against the globalists, at least, or in knowledge of them, is that the actual mainstream media are portraying fake media. I mean, look at CNN. It's completely fake most of the time. The Washington Post has even gone as far as to label sites like InfoWars as Russian propaganda fake news, websites exemplifying the last attempt of a dying media conglomerate to force out any and all dissenting voices. You see, here is the label thing again. It's like we can put up any name with Russian in it, and then we know propaganda is also a negative word, and we throw back this fake news into these conspiracy guys' faces, so they just gonna shut up, because that's what this labeling tells us. Shut up, otherwise bad things will happen to you. Even more concerning, the United States House of Representatives quietly passed legislation targeting Russian propaganda websites. It's getting kind of annoying, right? But the calls for censorship do not end with the United States. The European Union is demanding that Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook censor illegal hate speech within 24 hours and content that includes so-called fake news, a term so broad that it includes perfectly legitimately news content. Like I said, Microsoft, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter have also announced that they will be ramping up efforts to remove extremist content from their websites by using a shared database of offenders. This is the thing with globalists. They wanted to build a system of computers. This was what the scientific geniuses come up with when they were going to research this society, how to control mass population. And they thought, create this world of computers, or whatever they decide to call it, and just make people put in their ideas and everything into this system, and then they can monitor everyone. And in this way, they can control manage people and remove possible threats by, calling over the police, since people don't go out. And this is happening more every day, that they're promoting people to become socially afraid and being more towards sitting at home rather than going out. And especially when violent people are being outside your doorstep, then you prefer to be at home. Like for me, example. And perhaps most importantly, Twitter have recently gone on record stating that the company will ban President-elect J. Trump's Twitter account if we were to violate the company's hate speech rules. They did threaten the president of doing that. It would be a world first thing to do something like that, right? I don't think that has happened before on any social platform. It's just bizarre. We are calling on and asking President-elect Donald J. Trump to take a stand against the establishment media's fake news attacks and stop the impending censorship of independent media platforms like InfoWars.com and others. I really need a coma or something there, because it was too much for my lungs. Right, I caught my breath. So, this is the problem also with political correctness, is that because you make a point, a true fact, you're exercising your freedom of speech, and they can just tell you, you're hateful, you're racist. But, hate speech and exercising your freedom of speech is not the same thing. I mean, if you have a perfect fact, a fact is not hateful. A fact is truth. You can't argue with facts, right? If you know what an actual fact means. A fact is factual. What they are saying is that if you hurt my feelings, you are hateful. No. You know, you can be polite, you can be rude, but being completely mannered and telling them a fact will get these people to cry out loud, call you all of these titles, regardless if you are correct or not. Because, you know, fact is a fact, and they argue with facts. That's what I'm trying to say, at least. Perhaps sounded a bit too much, but you still get the point, right? That they don't approve of the truth because they get hurt. So I highly recommend you to follow Alex Jones. I made a Praise Alex Jones video, and I hope this video have been a bit enlightening as well, because we have to spread out the truth, otherwise they will take our freedom of speech from us. Once the globalists have taken complete control, once they are enforcing a global government, there are no way out of it. So support the InfoWar, or whoever you'd like to support, or, you know, try to study independent media like these and see what they have to offer you. At least the information, because if you're gonna stick to mainstream media, you're gonna hear one and the same thing all the time, one and the same opinion. Because haven't you noticed how one-sided all opinions are, both in politics and in the media? Anything that is against, anything like abortion or immigrants or anything, homosexuality, asexuality, transgenders, you are evil. And those that agree with it are completely good. They are angels. The others are devils. So if you disagree with one of these things, ask yourself, are you a devil? Are you going to trust this mainstream media telling you these things? I suggest just taking a look somewhere else than your regular, normal news outlet. That's Azarelius signing out.
My fellow InfoWarriors, I am very excited to be able to announce to you the introduction at InfoWarsLife.com of a new way to save time and money when you stock up on InfoWars Life formulations like Survival Shield X2 and Super Male Vitality. Just go to InfoWarsLife.com today, select your favorite product, click on Auto Ship before adding to cart, and choose how often you want us to send you another order. Every time you choose Auto Ship at InfoWarsLife.com, you get 10% off, and you won't have to worry about running out and having to reorder next time. And of course, you can cancel with one click anytime. As you know, I'm all about the idea of a 360 win, and the new auto ship feature at InfoWarsLife.com is a sure win for everybody. A win for liberty, a win for health, and a win when it comes to big savings. Visit InfoWarsLife.com today and save 10% on your next InfoWars Life order by selecting auto ship at checkout. That's InfoWarsLife.com, or call 888-253-3139.